everyone. Welcome to episode number 670 of this here electronic engineering podcast called Amelia's Weekly Fish Fry. Brought to you by eejournal.com and written, produced, and hosted by me, Amelia Dalton. In this week's podcast, Amol Borkar from Cadence Design Systems and I explore the major trends in high-performance audio and voice AI. We also investigate how the demanding new use cases in automotive applications are dramatically increasing audio workloads, and how Tensilica HiFi IQ DSP is addressing the increasing requirements for voice AI and immersive audio. So, without further ado, please welcome Amol to Fish Fry. Hi, Amol. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Amelia, nice to talk to you again. Always a pleasure having a conversation with you.
Always a pleasure having you on as well. So, Amal, let's talk about the major trends in high performance audio and voice AI. What are you seeing these days?
Sure, it's a very good question, actually. I think in the audio space, there's a lot of things that is happening, like in general, always been the need for high quality immersive audio, best in class processing, all of that. But where we're seeing the market really move these next few years is bringing a lot of that immersive audio experience from the home into the car as well. So you want to have like realistic concert-like experiences when you're sitting, maybe in traffic or when you're going in a drive or something like that. So immersive in-car audio experience is one place where we're seeing a major uptick or interest from a lot of our customers. Then also voice as a new keyboard for navigating interfaces and all of that, because a lot of times when you have these hands-free devices and applications, whether it's in your car or whether you're on the phone or when you're walking about, just using your voice to navigate through a lot of the user interfaces is becoming quite important. And then also just the whole integration of AI, voice-driven AI applications. And this is where we're sort of seeing a lot of these, small language models, SLMs and language models really getting integrated into these voice type of applications to make the next level of applications a lot more immersive and realistic.
So, Amal, there's a lot happening with audio in cars these days. So, tell me about the audio subsystem and how these new use cases are driving dramatic increases in audio workloads.
Sure, that's a very good question. So I think I briefly touched upon just a few seconds ago about like the immersive audio, about having the realistic experience inside the car. But there's a lot of processing that is really happening inside the automotive subsystem for audio. So you've got things like rendering of spatial and 3D audio. You've got signaling, audio alerts, ADAS warnings, and indicating to the driver there's maybe some threat or danger while driving. The immersive audio playback, as I mentioned, active noise cancellation, to increase the quietness in the car, essentially canceling out the engine noise or road noise type of things, creating realistic sound zones or sound bubbles. So that way each passenger or driver in the car may be having a different experience and there's no crosstalk between the audio playback that is happening per passenger. Also much better voice processing integrated with natural language processing so that you can have a much better hands-free experience inside the car. And then just advancements of the new codecs, things for which improve, the casting, the streaming, Bluetooth connection between your phone and the car. So there's a lot happening really there in all those spaces. Now, if we were to take this one step forward and consider the workloads that we're looking at that are being processed inside the car. So if you take a look at audio playback, for example, right now in some of the mid to high end cars or many of these luxury cars, you have 16 speaker playback, 12 channel Dolby Atmos streams running at 48 kilohertz. You have some high quality post processing, speaker rendering, mixing, and all of that. That's where we are today. If you look in the future, this is dramatically increasing. You're looking at driving 30 or more speakers, you're looking at immersive audio decoding, super sampling, 96 kilohertz or higher, advanced channel rendering and optimizations. A lot of this also is using classical signal processing approaches, but then, as you can imagine, everything is also being enhanced with AI. What this ends up being also is that the improved experience, better performance usually means a lot more compute workload and compute processing. So to do something like this, you're seeing like 2x increase in performance requirement to drive these additional speakers and channel processing. Actually, it was quite interesting because at CES this year in Las Vegas, CES 2026, I saw some demos of some cars where they had 30 or 40 speakers inside the car. And for one, I was just amazed how they could, squeeze in 40 speakers inside the car. But the listening experience was just amazing. It really felt like you were at a Maroon 5 concert, inside your car, which was just amazing. Something, which you wouldn't be able to imagine about 5 or 10 years ago. But that future is becoming a lot more real now. So that was audio playback. If you look at road noise and engine noise cancellation also as another example, right now you may be having, maybe 4 or 6 microphones that are capturing the noise, and then you have 4 secondary speakers that are playing back the canceled noise to basically quiet down the cabin. And this uses, a variety of audio noise canceling algorithms with a variety of complexities. And where we're going to in the future is maybe 8 or more microphones inside the car, additional secondary speakers, maybe 8 or 10 speakers. You have some more complex multi-channel ANC, which is audio noise cancellation algorithms, and everything also is getting now enhanced with AI. This also means that the workloads are probably increasing about 2 or 3-fold higher compared to what they are today. And then one more experience with voice processing. This is where like you typically would use the voice-based navigation or control for your car and say, hey, can you give me the navigation or show me the directions to go from point A to point B? In this case, right now it's sort of limited in the sense many of the cars typically have maybe 1 or 2 microphones, one maybe in the instrument cluster, one in the driver's side visor, and there's limited amount of processing for the passengers in the back. And also, unlike a few cars, in most cases, the vocabulary is very limited. It's just very fixed type of conversation or commands that you have to give to your processing unit so you can get a response back. Versus where we're looking to in the future is maybe this is going to get enhanced with a larger microphone array, maybe do some better beamforming. Drivers can be looking around and talking freely, and their voice will be also captured easily. And then also capturing of passengers' voices, much better voice assistance integration. So integration with more language models, natural language processing, and maybe some SLMs also in the car to do some real-time AI inferencing or speech to text and then text to speech back. But in this case, we are seeing this workload probably go up, maybe anywhere from 2x to 8x compared to where we are today. But a common factor that we are seeing across all these use cases, whether it's audio playbacks, noise cancellation, or this voice processing, is that AI is becoming prevalent and it's starting to become more and more integrated in all of these use cases. There are a lot more, but I think we've just highlighted about 3 or 4 of them in this particular case.
So, in addition to automotive, a number of other next generation applications are emerging, right? So, can you share just a few of them?
Sure, absolutely. Aside from this automotive case, where we are also keeping an eye out and investing heavily in there, many other segments also we are starting to see next generation applications really arise. So one is just the overall integration of AI in voice applications. So interpreting, processing spoken languages using AI models, as I mentioned, text to speech processing, speech to text processing, many of the classical approaches being replaced from signal processing to more AI-based, neural network-based implementations. This is also starting to become the backbone for many virtual assistants, these things called AI agents, which can then do a lot more realistic, real-time Q&A and give rise to much more of this agentic AI type of applications. And with this, marriage of voice and AI, we're starting to see also a lot more integration and personalization with smart home systems. Your Ring, your Simply Safe devices, all of that, and more are starting to have a lot more AI integration directly in there to make it a much better user experience for the consumer. That's one. The second one being the rise of, as I mentioned, AI agents and SLMs, or these small language models. So SLMs, if you're not familiar with them, they are, in a very crude sense, lightweight LLMs. So they are targeted, they're smaller, and they're targeted for embedded devices. In many cases, this means they are usually a couple of billion parameters, but in many of the developments we have seen from our partners, they're actually able to get SLMs running in several hundreds of millions of parameters. So it makes it very suitable for embedded type of solutions where you have limited amount of either DDR or flash memory. The advantage of this is these small agents could be running entirely on device, so no need of cloud or sort of like a server or data center connectivity. This could be completely localized and fine-tuned for a specific application. So, for example, compared to SLMs, if they're context or they're tuned for a specific task, like maybe, for example, to serve as chatbot for a certain application, or maybe one example which we showed at CES, one of our partners, Moschip, built a demo for us where they had an SLM-based demonstration, which was trained with the context of the user manual of an electric vehicle. So the demo was essentially somebody speaks using a microphone input, can query a certain application or a feature of the car that they want to maybe change some settings or something like that, because in 2025, as you know, nobody really reads user manuals. Everybody's impatient. So if you want to change some setting in your car, it's very hard for us to usually pick up a manual and sift through and say, oh, I want to, retrain my garage door opener. These are the sequence of operations that I need to do. But if you could verbally ask the question and the car could respond back to you, that would be something really nice. And that's one of the demonstrations we showed. So it had 3 steps over there, which was all AI based. First was the voice was captured and going from voice to text. Then that text input was used as an input to this SLM model, this small language model. And then the response of the SLM was converted from text to voice. So these 3 models working back to back were able to allow you to ask a question and you get a response back from this, in a sense, AI agent. So a lot more integration of these SLMs and AI agents in consumer deploying applications. So we're going to start seeing realistic usages of these solutions. And then last but not least, also just immersive audio and the enhancement over there. So enhanced realism for more lifelike 360 surround sound, adding more elevation and depth to the rendering of the sound field. So you feel like you're really in that environment which you're watching. And all these extensions and enhancements allows, the creators and platforms to provide high quality next gen audio experiences for the user.
So, Amol, how does the new Tensilica HiFi IQ DSP address the increasing requirements for voice AI and immersive audio?
Yeah, Amelia, that's a really good question. So we just launched our Tensilica HiFi IQ DSP, and we've, designed it for unmatched and really high performance for both voice AI and immersive audio type of formats. So how does it help over here? And there are various aspects that I can go over with you. So first step being that we built a new architecture for this HiFi IQ DSP. It is 6th generation DSP for voice and audio. So it definitely builds off from our learnings that we've had from the previous generation of very successful HiFi DSPs. But to take that next step in high performance, we had to do something new. So with this new architecture, it's purpose built for this next gen voice AI and these latest immersive audio formats. And then with this architectural enhancement, we get a performance leap. You could say, in a sense, also a quantum leap. We are able to showcase 8x increase in AI performance. This is because of the availability of additional compute units or MACs that are there that are configurable on this HiFi IQ DSP. We went to a wider execution unit or a wider SIMD, because of which we are able to see, in many cases, up to 2x improvement in raw performance. And with that also gave us an uplift on the performance of many codecs. For example, on average, we're seeing 40% or higher improvement on codec performance for many of the immersive audio codecs, like some of the ones from Dolby and Fraunhofer. We are seeing those cases, good performance uplift. Not just architecture and performance also, but we added some more extensibility as well. So to tackle these latest AI SLM type models, we've added support for FP8 and BF16 and some additional enhancements and ISAs to further get performance improvements for AI workloads as well as AI network execution. So this is all good at a spec level. But then also with the architecture, we got an improvement in energy savings as well. And on average, we are seeing close to 25% energy savings across various workloads because increasing performance, new architecture, everything sounds great. But if we don't show an improvement in energy, then the question comes up like, hey, where's the value out of this product, right? So we get improved performance, more configurability, more extensibility, and improved energy savings as well. But this 25% has been energy savings on average. If we focus on specific like AI workloads, for example, we see even higher energy savings. In many cases, about half the energy of the previous generation HiFi DSPs. And last but not least, HiFi DSPs have a very strong software ecosystem. So a very large list of partners that have created libraries, tool chains, codecs, frameworks, all of that. So all of that is continued to be leveraged with the new HiFi IQ DSPs. So a new customer, new partner, or existing customer partner can hit the ground with the HiFi IQ DSP at 60 miles per hour. Now, we just announced the product, and this is targeted for general availability in Q2 of this year.
So, Amol, talk to me about some of the other benefits of this solution.
Yeah, Amelia. So we definitely targeted voice AI and immersive audio for the key applications and workload segments that we want to go after. But let me give you some more details about why this HiFi IQ DSP can be really a game changer. So there are three aspects that we wanted to focus on. Is one is it's designed for the future. We've added a lot more AI configurability and also enables fast time to market. So on the pillar of design for the future, as we mentioned, it's purpose-built for next-generation audio formats and voice AI. And we continue to leverage our Extensa architecture, so still built on the LX8 Extensa platform. And then with the wider execution units, we get 2x increase in performance on most workloads. Where the AI configurability comes in is we have eightfold increase on AI performance. And this is enabled by a lot of special functions that we've introduced for AI, as well as the increased MAC units. We also have extensive support for a variety of different softwares and frameworks like TFLM, LightRT, Execute Torch, and more. And this product by itself, because of its AI capabilities, can run standalone for a lot of the AI workloads, AI networks. But in the case some of our customers want to still pair it with an external NPU, this can be paired with our Neo family of NPUs for additional AI performance, or they have their own inbuilt or home-built NPU, they can pair that also along with the HiFi IQ DSP. And then from the fast time to market perspective, we have comprehensive support for auto vectorization. We continue to have AI compatibility for many of our codecs and libraries. And all of these together showcase significant performance gains, or they're significantly enhanced over previous generations offerings. So all these factors together make this really a next-gen product from Tensilica.
So, Amol, what frameworks and tools are needed to run the latest AI models for voice AI?
That's a good question, Amelia. And this is a challenge that we constantly face because, as you know, this whole AI landscape and AI market is moving at a really, really fast rate, and it's very hard to keep up with it. And one of the challenges that we also noticed is that as these networks are also evolving on a weekly, daily, in some cases hourly basis, the other challenge is also that all these networks also have very different requirements, not just from the data types, whether they are pre-quantized or they need quantization. Some are using TF-Lite, some are using PyTorch or other different frameworks. And what we realized is being married to one particular framework or approach can be kind of limiting or prohibitive for us. So we sort of like looked at it as a horizontal approach that we support a variety of different ways. That way it makes it a lot more sticky for the customers, and we can also have a lot more attached to various different customer bases. So we support, in a high sense, 4 different ways of how we can support all these AI networks. So one is our in-house developed neural network compiler flow, which is called NeuroWeave, previously known as XNNC. This idea is that it's a TVM based approach, which has a TVM front end. But at the high level, the idea is that you can provide a network as part of this compiler flow. The tool can consume the network, will quantize it, will do the data type conversions, can do graph optimizations, layer mergings, any additional type of optimizations, then create the IR, and then create the specific DSP targeted code or processor targeted code with DMA, tile management, all of that. So this is one way. We support a variety of different frameworks to consume. You can take PyTorch, TensorFlow, Caffe, Onyx, and some of the newer other frameworks that may not listed over here. Then we also support a TFLM-based flow. So this is Google's framework, is largely maintained by Google, and we provide optimization to certain library functions that can be mapped for vectorized performance for execution of certain layers and operations on the HiFi DSP. So this way, as the framework itself evolves through the community, we can just plug into that easily, and we have support for a larger customer base over there too. The third approach is also we support ExecuTorch. So this is a framework that is developed by Meta to consume PyTorch-based models. So we support ExecuTorch as well. And then most recently, we are supporting LightRT as well. So LightRT, in a very loose sense, is the next evolution of TFLM or TF Lite for Micro, because TF Lite for Micro was generally targeted for the very, very low-end microcontroller class of devices, versus LightRT is using that same principle, but they have decided to open it up to support quantization and then the larger transformer type models, LLMs, and all of that. So we support these four different approaches. And as we mentioned, the benefit of supporting these four approaches is because one customer wants to rely on us for quantization. Somebody else has their quantized model but wants to be bit exact. Somebody else wants to be PyTorch based and not TF Lite based. So by supporting various of these, you can get a larger customer share, and it makes it easier for customers to bring their networks over to our IP, both for execution and for deployment.
All right, Amol, it is time for your off-the-cuff question. So I know you recently redid your outdoor kitchen. So tell me some fun stuff that you've made on your new kitchen.
Yeah, so I always like to cook. I like to have steaks. The problem statement that I had was I had an outdoor kitchen, but it was really hard to use it 9 months around the year. So I had it redone. I had a cover put on it, so it became like its own gazebo. And now I can barbecue, I can smoke, I can make steaks, I can make a pizza in the pizza oven all year round. So let me know when you're free, and you should come by.
I love it. I will. Well, Amol, I think that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Amelia. As I said, always a pleasure chatting with you, and look forward to the next time we speak.
Well, folks, that's all I've got for this week's Fish Fry. If you'd like even more information about this topic, I've included a couple links below the player on this week's Fish Frying page on eejournal.com and in the description for this week's YouTube episode as well. Hey, have you checked out EE Journal on social media yet? Well, you should. You can find us at facebook.com/EEJournal. If LinkedIn is more your thing, I dig it. You can follow us or me on LinkedIn, and we are also on Blue Sky Social and Mastodon as well. And we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/EEJournal. Folks, it is chock full of all kinds of cool techie videos, including our very popular Chalk Talk webcast series, hosted by me, and our animated series called Libby's Lab. And of course, you can subscribe to our EE Journal YouTube channel as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you know of any cool new technology, or heck, you just want to chat, shoot me a line at Amelia, that's AMELIA, at eejournal.com, or post a comment on our forums on EE Journal. For the week of February 20th, 2026, I'm Amelia Dalton, and you've been fried.